portal and recruiting. So there are still 2 names that that have been kind of floating out there that are still in play from the portal. And I think that the one that everyone wants to know about is Ty Haywood. Now, if you were here last night, you would know already. But TJ, what is the latest on Ty Haywood? Is he coming?
Yeah. So Ty Haywood is like the big fish. We've been talking about Ty Haywood since November, since Michigan's been trying to get him to decommit from Alabama. He did. Trying to get him to visit to Michigan. He did. Trying to get his mom on campus, who has not been on campus, and she just wanted to see it. She has. And then also executing an absolutely great weekend that they could possibly enjoy and see themselves in the maize and blue. And Michigan did. Michigan knocked out of the park this weekend. They crushed it. Obviously, we have seen some predictions come in from the Will Fongs and the Simmons. And also, I believe there was another insider through On 3 who also put out a prediction, I think on Friday, before the visit, actually. But what's interesting about this recruitment, John, is this is what we would call a Queen Jolyn special. And this is a recruitment that we have told you guys about if you watched our show since, I don't know, early December or so, maybe November, I don't know, around there. That this is a player they've identified that they would love to bring into this class to help build this class around Bryce Underwood, to give him the protection that he needs in the pocket. And Michigan has done an excellent job here. We are all aware of the Sean McGee visit that happened a week prior to his visit in Ann Arbor to close the deal or help close the deal. Well, here's the reality of the situation. It's, there was a thing we were doing in the summer, John, called TJ, TJ's locks, Ronin locks, or whatever the hell we were calling it. Well, we're locking this one up, boys. It's done. So EJ said 90% tonight. That's fine. And I know it's done. Listen. So one of the big hurdles for Michigan was mom needed to be on campus to make sure she liked it and all that. And by all accounts, they had a great time. And the NIL situation, from my understanding, it's done. It's just about when do they want to announce things, is kind of from my understanding. So we'll see where it goes, but yeah, things look absolutely great. It looks absolutely great right now for Michigan. We'll see when things become public. I don't know when that's going to be or when the Haywoods want to make the announcement. I know there was the initial idea of waiting all the way to signing day, which is in February. I'm not so sure it's going to take that long. I feel like he's going to wrap it up sooner than that, but I can't say I know that. That's not intel. That's assumption on my end, by the way. And the reason why I feel that is because, from my understanding, everything's done. So it's it's just a matter of when, not if. So yeah, Michigan did the thing here. And here's another thing that's interesting about this, John. Michigan is going to have 3 5-stars in one class, which is the first time in like the modern recruiting era.
It's a long time.
So for the individuals who say, well, Michigan's not doing enough, it's not true. They are. And they just started getting it together. The donors really started rallying in September. Michigan greenlit the paying for players in March. In terms of high school and portal and all that happened around March. And then, where the ADs, the regents and everybody were all aligned with moving forward in that direction due to the evolving climate of college football, which we, again, brought to you guys when that shit dropped before anybody. And then, the donors really started rallying in September. The momentum and all that. And Michigan did a really good job from October to November. I really feel like sometimes we overlook that. I feel like we don't appreciate what Sean McGee and co. really did. They really did do a great job bringing that class together. And then, John, if we look at the next target, Zahir Mathis, look, they land Ty Haywood and they land Zahir Mathis. They finish the class with the number 6 class in the nation. That is excellent. That is elite. The number 5 class in 2025, from my understanding, is Ohio State. Ohio State is just a few points ahead of Michigan if they land Zahir Mathis. What's interesting, too, guys, is Zahir Mathis was formally committed to Ohio State. Now, the good news is, and like we talked about previously in the show, Wink Martindale is trending to Michigan, to remain at Michigan. Well, that's big time for Zahir Mathis. Because if you have a defensive coordinator change, that could affect that recruitment, and it definitely creates an opening for another school to negatively recruit Michigan. So we don't know who the defensive coordinator is going to be. You don't know the system. You don't know if he's going to develop you. Blah 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 blah. Bullshit. Well, here's what it is. Wink Martindale is looking to be here another year. I mean, it appears that Wink Martindale will be here another year. Which will be just great to close here with Zahir Mathis. Zahir Mathis will be an excellent get to put on the other side of Nate Marshall, who, by the way, just got his 5th star today by Rivals. So he's now a 5-star. He's also ranked a 5-star by Rivals. Now, it's not a composite unanimous, but I don't give a shit. His film's fantastic. Like, there comes a point where the rankings are the rankings, and I don't care. The film matters. And again, dude, like, you just have an excellent class for 2025 that goes along with what we talked about earlier, John, the portal, which is a very solid, strong portal. It's not an elite portal. We're not selling no gas, but it is a solid portal that is going to add depth and raise the floor of this roster, as well as create competition at spots where you want competition. So, I think Michigan's just doing a really good job here. It's definitely it's an aggressive approach, but it's not a careless approach. That's how I would kind of define Michigan's current recruiting strategy. It's definitely, it has an aggressiveness to it, especially when they identify a guy, whether it be Justice Haynes, whether it be Babalola, whether it be Shamari Earls, whether it be Ty Haywood, right? And Underwood, right? When they identify a guy, they get him. They essentially get into a mode where it's like, okay, I don't care what you do, we're getting them. They pretty much have achieved almost batted 1,000 on most of those. So then, you add in the portal additions, you add in this foundational class, and Michigan is in a good place for the future for Sharon Moore, the Sharon Moore era.
Yeah, and Jacob has a question on this. So for $4.99, he's asking if we do land Haywood, which it looks like we are landing Haywood. Who do you see starting first, Babalola or Ty Haywood?
That's a great question, because
it is a great question.
Here's the truth about both of them. Okay, they're both physical specimens with great athletic profiles and excellent frames, long arms, strong. They both have mechanical issues that they need to fix. Like, for example, Babalola has only been playing football for 3 years, guys. Like, he is so raw. That's one of the things that really attracts Michigan to Babalola, because he's so good with only 3 years of playing football. He's so new to the game. Michigan feels like there's a belief that Babalola could really be like a top 5 pick in the future, top 10, top 5, because he has the perfect athletic profile, perfect frame, perfect archetype for a left tackle. And he's very strong, very athletic. Haywood is one of those players where he is so physically strong that he is overpowering the competition without excellent mechanics. So sometimes he gets a little high, his hips aren't bent, knees aren't bent, but he just overpowers and manhandles dudes. So, these are areas that will need to be corrected. Sharon Moore obviously is an offensive line guru. Grant Newsome's also well respected and considered an up and comer. So who do I see will be starting first? Let me look at my depth chart real quick so I could just kind of look at. I think, all right, my argument. All right, so it's tough. So I think we will see Babalola potentially starting at left tackle by his sophomore year. I think Andrew Sprague is going to man the right tackle position for the next 3 years, 2 to 3 years. It depends if he leaves early his junior year. And then right guard is where I actually think Haywood's going to slot in.
I was going to say,
which could be year 2. It could be his year 2. So, I mean, they might start both the same year. I mean, the way the roster looks, there appears to be a clear path for both of them, but that's barring any portal additions in the next 3 portal cycles before that sophomore year. So we'll see. So I mean, if I had to put money on it, I would do Babalola.
Me too. But I do see a place at right guard potentially for Ty Haywood, and there's discussion about that. It's not just us talking about it. There's on the boards elsewhere. He could slide to guard. He has the skills. He has the ability to do that.
Hey, shout out to CJ Mike, by the way.
CJ Mike's shout out. TJ is spot on.
Hey, we do what we can around here, man. I try to bring you guys honest analysis. But so to CJ's point, he goes, my buddy's a coach out here in Texas. I asked him to evaluate Haywood. He almost said the exact same thing about Haywood. Because, I mean, it's what it is. If you look at his film, you see a very overpowering player who's just dominating competition, but just has some mechanical issues that that is fixable and coachable. That's like the best thing about it. It's like it's nothing that's not these aren't long-term issues. These are just really it just comes down to time on task and repetition, and then it becomes innate, and then it becomes natural for him, and then he will just become an excellent player. I mean, we're talking future all Big Ten caliber players here. We're talking first round pick projected players here. I mean, these guys are really top of the food chain, elite prospects.
Absolutely, and thanks, Jacob, for the $4.99 there. So we also do have some. We're starting to dive into 2026 here, and TJ has looked at a couple of these, and has found 5 recruits that y'all should start to get to know a little bit as we start to look at 2026.
Yeah, so again, like we're entering the 2026 class season. We're in January. It's early. Shout out to my boy Greg. I see you. It's early. And, so now what I'm trying to do is I want to get you guys more familiar with these names because this is going to be so fluid. Names are going to change. Names are going to drop. Players are going to be added. But here are some players that we should be aware of in January of 2025. Jackson Cantwell, the number 1 offensive tackle in the nation. Again, Michigan prioritizes the trenches. Michigan and Cantwell does look at Michigan as one of his top schools, but here's some reality, and this isn't a surprise to anybody. This is one of those where NIL is going to matter. So then it just comes down to where does Michigan prioritize Jackson Cantwell after just landing 1, highly likely 2 5-star tackles. So do you need another number 1 elite 5-star tackle? I don't know. You may. I don't. That's something we're going to learn in terms of how Sean McGee, Sharon Moore, want to invest in the offensive line. And I'm sure there's some people saying, put that money at a wide receiver, and maybe they will. I mean, maybe they will, right? So it's so early. So that's why we got to kind of watch. NIL is going to matter major here. He's obviously an elite talent. He's already visited Michigan before. Just a name that we need to be paying attention to. I'm sure he's going to visit again in the summer. We'll have it here for you. The next player we're going to talk about is Victor Singleton, the 6-foot corner out of Ohio, out of Toledo, Ohio. Okay, Toledo's friendly to Michigan, boys. Toledo is friendly to Michigan. Now, there is belief that he's not locked into Ohio State at all. He has visited Michigan before. He's currently ranked the number 65 player in the nation. He is an elite corner. I don't know what it is, but Ohio, the state of Ohio, grows corners, bro. Like, I have no idea what the hell is going on because every year they got like top 100 corners, and it's annoying as shit, actually. But hopefully, like Charles Woodson, we can land another, right? So hopefully we can land another elite corner out of Ohio. And, we'll see if, Michigan can close here. But, yeah, he just visited recently. I'm sure this is a name we will see again in the summer, a name that we should be paying attention to. And we will definitely have those updates for you. Another player.
We'll take a corner. We'll take a corner from Ohio all day, every day.
Give me all the corners from Ohio. I'll take them all. The next player we want to talk about is linebacker Jordan Campbell, who is currently committed to the Miami Hurricanes. This player is a player that Brian Jean-Marie has targeted and is trying to make a move with, trying to entice to come visit Michigan, over the next few months, potentially for official visits. And this is a player that Michigan has identified as someone they really like. And he is, as I said, currently committed to Miami. What's really interesting about this player is he has really good size. He's 6'2", 200-pound frame. He's only a junior, so he's probably going to get to about 210 or 208 probably this summer. And then by the time he's ready for college ball, he might be 6'2", 6'3", 215, 220. Like, he's going to be ready for it. So he's currently ranked 66 in the nation. The number 4 linebacker in the nation. This is a player that I am aware that Michigan has targeted early. We'll see if they can make some move here and get him up to Michigan. He is, and just for clarity, he is out of Florida. So sometimes that can be tough, especially Some of the Florida players have allegiances to Miami, Florida State, Florida. But the good news is there's so many of these Florida kids, they are willing to come to Michigan. They are willing to travel north. So, we'll see if Michigan can pull him out of the Sunshine State. The next player we're going to talk about is inside offensive lineman Leo Delaney out of North Carolina. And again, another one of these Providence Day boys. Providence Day is just pumping. It's a damn football factory out of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Currently ranked as the 87th player in the nation. We all know, as we talked about with Jackson Cantwell, Michigan invests in the trenches. This is a target for Michigan. They're going to try and, get him up to campus again, especially for official visits. A player that Michigan has identified that they think is, they would, from my understanding, he's at the top of their board. So, we'll find out if Michigan can continue to gain momentum and traction and where Michigan ranks when they start coming out with their final lists, which are going to be coming now. So just want to give everybody a heads up and some pre-warning. We're in the 2026 class. These kids are going to start saying, oh, major announcement. I got big news. And it's going to be some top 10 lists, some top 12 lists, top 6, whatever. They like to have fun with it. Now, I'm not saying Cantwell is one of these kids. I'm just saying essentially, a lot of these kids do like to play these games on social media, so just be aware of that. Don't think any surprise commitments are coming unless, we'll try to prep you if there's anything we're aware of. But for the most part, typically these kids are just having fun with the process. The next player I want to talk about, and Michigan is really targeting the tight end position for 2026 because, as you know, Andrew Olish's dad is an a-hole. Respectfully, sir. And Andrew Olish's mom is an incredibly nice lady, though. Upstanding
nice
citizen. We all hail Andrew Olish's mother.
Mm-hmm.
But so, we didn't get Andrew Olish, obviously. So Michigan's really targeting tight ends for 2026. So this kid is currently ranked number 27th in the nation, number 3 tight end overall. He's 6'6", 238 pounds, out of Utah. Michigan has identified him as one of their tight ends that they're currently trying to build a stronger relationship with, get him on campus more, and, really build from there and hopefully land him in the class. Now, from my understanding, this is going to be a very tough recruitment. And I'm sure, like most of these kids who are in this range, he's a borderline 5-star right now. NIL is going to matter. I'm sure it will. So we'll keep tabs on it. We'll let you guys know where it stands, where it goes. And then the final, and actually that is the final player. So these are the 5 players I wanted to bring to your guys' attention for the 26th class. Be on the lookout. We will continue. So here's what's interesting about recruiting right now, John. January, there are some visits here and there. February, we're about to hit a dead period. There should be some smoke. And when I mean smoke, I mean some information here and there. March is when things are really going to pick up, though. So, we're going to, we'll keep our ears to the ground. We'll see if Michigan can make any moves. And if players start to trend more. We all know what's going on with Michigan and the running backs and some of these other players we talked about last week.